What's up, horror fam? Welcome back to the channel. So for today's episode, Bill Skarsgård says he never wants to play an evil character like Count Orlok again. We also have the 2024 National Film Registry for the Library of Congress, and we have additional sequel news for Return of the Living Dead, so let's get into it. Nosferatu Bill Skarsgård says he never wants to play something this evil again. Bill Skarsgård has played some dark and twisted characters throughout his career, but it seems that Count Orlok in Robert Eggers' Nosferatu might be the limit. While speaking with Empire, Skarsgård sounds like he wants a break from portraying such nefarious characters. Quote, "When we were done with it, I was like, I never want to play something this evil again. I never want to put on prosthetics again," he said. Quote, "It really affected me. Orlok is an occult sorcerer and it did a number on me in terms of just trying to inhabit that space." We still haven't seen a full image of Skarsgård as Count Orlok, but it's said to be quite the transformation. The actor even worked with an opera singer to lower his voice by a whole octave. Quote, "The voice was the thing I worked the hardest at. For a month and a half leading up to the shoot, I didn't do much else than just record myself. And on set, I would keep doing these exercises. It sounds kind of like Mongolian throat singing. It's insane." Written and directed by Robert Eggers and starring Bill Skarsgård, Nicholas Hoult, Lily Rose Depp, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Emma Corrin, and William Dafoe, Nosferatu is a gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. Our own Chris Bumbray is a big fan of Nosferatu, calling it the, quote, "scariest vampire movie in ages." In his review, quote, "This is one of the most lovingly made horror films in some time, with Eggers likely having set out to create a definitive version of the tale." Bumbray wrote, "It's long been his passion project, and you can tell. For me, this is up there with the best films of the year, and probably the only horror film I've seen recently that sent a true chill up my spine. Of all the films I've seen this year, and there have been a lot, this one seems to have the best chance of becoming a classic." So everything I've heard thus far about this film, as far as critic reviews I've gotten to see an early showing of this, it's been nothing but good praise about the film and Bill Skarsgård's portrayal of Count Orlok. I can understand his perspective of not wanting to go down this path again. We've heard similar perspectives from other actors. The one that initially comes to mind, which I'm sure might be something that we all remember, was Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker. Now, there was a documentary done, and even prior to Heath Ledger's passing, there was a lot of talk amongst his family, Christopher Nolan, and some of the other actors on set that said he did lock himself away for months at a time to get into the mindset of this portrayal of Joker, and it did take a toll on him. Now, whether or not that's how true that is, again, we never heard that directly from Heath Ledger. It was always from family, friends, co-workers, the director that provided this insight. Now, there's no reason for me to believe that they were lying on the toll it probably did take on him to get into that role. It's just something that you would want to hear directly from the individual that's going through that experience. Now, in this case, we have Bill Skarsgård saying, yes, it took a lot for him to get into this particular role, into this space, outside of having to wear the makeup, the prosthetics, having to adjust his voice for that month and a half in order to have the right portrayal that he was looking for, along with Robert as well. I'd imagine trying to be in that evil mindset for such a long length of time to portray this role does take its toll on you. So I can understand why you'd want to take a step back, look at some different roles that maybe aren't within the genre. I mean, he's been in the genre for a little bit here and there, some of them not so successful. This would probably be his most successful portrayal within the horror genre. And I can appreciate, again, not wanting to, one, be typecasted in the genre, and two, maybe wanting to take something a little less daunting on him as an actor, that he can step back and, again, not take so much of the effort. But I do appreciate the effort he's put in for this role, and I can't wait to see it myself. So it's always interesting to hear what the actors, the creators, directors, writers have to say once a film is done. What all goes into create the film, what all goes into it from the actor's perspective to portray a specific character, all the effort and all the work. So again, I think this is something that's great to hear about, to see that perspective. But again, I can understand why he'd want to take a step back and maybe not go down this path in the future. All right, our next topic, the National Film Registry adds Texas Chainsaw Massacre, No Country for Old Men, Up in Smoke, and more. So the reason I wanted to bring this topic up, if you don't know, every year the Library of Congress, which oversees the National Film Registry, does add several films to the catalog, so to speak, to the library. and they're up to a little bit over 900 total films now, roughly, give or take. And from what I could find out and what I could research, there's roughly, not including this year's, 33 horror films, or what would be considered horror film. Now that's a wide range of horror films when you think about the subgenres. Some of the films that they're considering as horror films in that list are films like Jaws, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So while some people may not see those two specifically as direct horror films, similar to like King Kong from 1933 is another one that's on that list, the vast majority of them, I would say, are considered horror films. So for example, you have there's various versions of Dracula that are on that list of 33. We also have the original Night of the Living Dead from 1968, Halloween from 1978, Carrie, Rosemary's Baby, A Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm sure Psycho and The Shining are on there as well, if I remember correctly. So again, the list is very small when you think about a little over 900 films, 33 of them being horror. But the reason, again, I wanted to bring up the 2024 list and this article is when we get into the list, there are 2 horror films that will be making it as part of the 2024 list. And that here we have Ganja and Hess, along with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The first one from 1973 and the second one, which is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. I am glad to see, I think both of these are well overdue, especially Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Should have been on the list, in my opinion, long ago, but happy that they both made the list for the 2024 year. And many of these movies on here, rightfully so, deserve a spot on the list. We have the first time a Star Trek film, so you have Star Trek II Wrath of Khan making the list. And another one that stands out to me, which is one of my personal favorites, is American Me. That one is, again, a big personal favorite of mine. If you haven't seen that, I would highly recommend seeing it, especially if you are of Hispanic nationality. Again, it's one of my favorites. Along with, if you've ever heard the film Bound by Honor, also goes by the name Blood In, Blood Out, another great film. Came out around the same time, 92, 93. Glad to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Ganja and Hess both making the list for 2024. 2 more horror films that are well deserving to be on the National Film Registry. So going into our last topic, Trash's Revenge. Linnea Quigley announces her own Return of the Living Dead sequel. So we recently did a episode covering the Return of the Living Dead sequel. We also did a trailer review and reaction on the teaser that was released. So if you haven't seen those episodes, go check them out. We will put a link for those in the description of this episode. And I'm sure we all saw this coming based on the legalities of this particular sequel and everything around the original. So we learned just last week that the long dormant Return of the Living Dead franchise will return next Christmas with a brand new sequel from Living Dead Media and director Steve Walsh. The Christmas-themed horror sequel is set in 1985, 18 months after the events of the original film, and you can watch the first teaser here, and the teaser is down below in this link. And we will provide this link of this article in the description of this video, but again, we did our own trailer review and reaction of it, so check out that episode. Oddly enough, that's not even the only Return of the Living Dead movie on the horizon. Remember that legal battle over the rights that we reported on this past summer? Well, it looks like the other party that had been competing with Living Dead Media on the rights has come up with their own sequel project titled Trash's Revenge. While Living Dead Media's sequel will not feature any returning actors from the 1985 horror comedy classic, Trash's Revenge is set to star Return of the Living Dead actress Linnea Quigley, the iconic Scream Queen memorable, play the character Trash in Dan O'Bannon's original The Return of the Living Dead, and she announced the upcoming sequel in a video this week. Quigley teases that Trash's Revenge will also feature the original Return of the Living Dead cast members, and it's being crowdfunded with a campaign that launches on January 20th, 2025. Billed as part of the Return of the Living Dead universe, Quigley's Trash Revenge is set to be a tribute to the passionate fans who have kept the spirit of Return of the Living Dead alive. It looks like Quigley will be joined by fellow original Return of the Living Dead star Beverly Randolph in the new movie. Here's a plot synopsis from the project's pre-launch page on Sinbecker. Quote, as the saga continues decades after the horrific events of the 1985 cult classic, Trash, the notorious punk rocker played by Linnea Quigley, finds herself trapped in a past where fame has faded. Once rebellious icon, Trash now embraces the persona of a grotesque Norma Desmond from Sunset Boulevard, attending conventions to sign autographs while her co-stars rise to greater heights. So I will put the link for this article in the description of this video below. Here is the mentioned announcement from the actress that this sequel is coming. It's interesting to see how these things transpire, again, from a legality perspective. I'm interested to see both. Again, we did a trailer review reaction on the teaser trailer that was put out earlier this week. I enjoyed the trailer. I thought it was just a perfect enough teaser to get you hyped for what could be coming when we get the full trailer for that sequel follow-up. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm hoping they put out a trailer or a teaser for this one coming into early the part of next year. I'm a supporter of both. I'll be happy to see both. They are part of the horror genre, and I was a fan of the original 1985 film, so of course I will fully support both. As a fan, I'm just happy that we're getting two perspectives on a sequel. More to come once we have that information available, and we will be sure to bring it to you all. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for today's episode. I just want to extend out another thank you to all the new subscribers to the channel. It is greatly appreciated, and it does help us out tremendously. Again, thank you for all the support. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about Bill Skarsgård's perspective on not wanting to play another evil character like this again in the future. Do you see other horror films that deserve a spot on the National Film Registry going into 2025? And what do you think about a crowd-funded Return of the Living Dead sequel on top of the official sequel that we will be getting going into next year? All right, everyone, that's going to do it for today's episode, and we will see you at the next one. Peace.